Welcome back, everybody, to our teaser video for our new True Self Radio. My name is Jona Bryndis. I'm a professional energy healer, energy coach, and energy therapist. And what I'm doing here is basically the evolved version of these weekly energy updates and energy tips. If you have been a frequent audience, then you know what I'm doing. I'm looking at collective energies and how they affect you. We're talking in terms of how energetically sensitives and empaths perceive these times, and these are very good times to talk about this, to give it names, and to express this. And therefore, I decided to do a more interactive version with you. I want to get you here on the show. And in future, starting October 20th, we're going to have this True Self Radio every Sunday morning, doing a truth talk and reflecting about current energies and how they affect us energetically sensitives. Welcome back. Welcome to all of you who tune in the first time. I will start this energies and entities special here for you with the last broadcast of the normal Empath Weekly or Energy Update, as I used to call this. For years, I have been delivering this to your home here through Facebook, Instagram, and occasionally through YouTube. So if you see my eyes wander back and forth, that's because I am transmitting, I'm live streaming simultaneously here. So, what are these energies that we are dealing with right now, guys? I've already said it, it's a lot. It's pretty much everything. And if you've had a chance to tune into the energy forecast and reflection for October, I said something at the very beginning, and I want to repeat this. For us energetically sensitives, these times around full moons, around new moons, about equinoxes, around solstices, those are times where we feel particular issues with our physical and also with our dreams and so forth. I can only confirm this to you and also assure you that there's nothing wrong with you, but also the necessity for you to allocate time. Those are times where you need to go within. Those are times where you need to spend more time on self-care. Those are times where you just need to know that you're not going to be sort of as firefighter as you normally are. So the main thing to understand here about what is going on right now, that on top of all these energies that are coming in through this crazy making collective, okay, is that you are being pulled into your soul self, into your true self. You are currently actively, so I hope, growing into your soul self. And that is what we are experience as a bit tricky. Not only is it hard for us to talk to others, hard to give it names, so that this has to do with energy awareness. Check my YouTube channel here. There's lots of, as I call them, Awakening Essentials explainer videos. And also, every video that I produce really has a lot of this contextualization that we need in regards to what is actually happening to us. So yes, I want to take a moment here to greet all of you. I see you guys. I see Canada. Yes, and let me check on YouTube here. Let me know where you guys are watching from. I'm not even sure if the YouTube live stream is going on. That would be part of my technical issue. It is. Hello, everyone on YouTube. Hola, Akin, I see you. All right, so this format here is for me to get closer to you, to connect more with you. All right, I want you to ask your questions, and after this weekly empath, this energy update, we will talk about energies and entities. I gave you guys the opportunity to send in questions up front. So as I'm speaking, you questions may come up. Please post them. I will answer them all. Yes, Tucson, I see you too. All right, so this is a live Q&A. This is a call-in show. So the True Self Radio that I'm starting October 20th, Sunday morning, Truth Talk, is a call-in show. And that means that you guys can interact with me and these guests that I will have on the show, very much like a radio show, but all through your phone. So if I look at the energies here for this coming weekend, okay, and I've talked a little bit about this in the energy update from last week, this is going to be a very, very tricky weekend for you, okay? Not only is there a full moon, and this has nothing to do with astrology, guys. Lunar cycles have always influenced people's moods, people's actions. But there's a ton of things that are coming together right now. And so you've got to understand that this weekend is going to be a tricky weekend for you, and you may as well plan in some time. Plan in some time with your family. Plan in some time for maybe going on a hike, go into nature and enjoy, the beauty and the abundance that can come in through nature. You might want to do things that are a bit more calm, that help you to balance things out. In those times, I always bake a cake for my family and just make sure that I'm available. All right. Everybody is going to feel irritable. Everybody's going to go through stuff. And this is part of, your new true self awareness, that you recognize that you're not the only one that goes through this. But due to your sensitivity, you might be the only one that that is able to contextualize what you're experiencing. And so don't get into fights. Don't let yourself get pulled into these things that have been bothering you all along. Why am I saying this? Because this weekend is a heavy, I want to say family drama weekend or a relationship drama weekend. Okay, so be careful here with these things that you've already identified as things that are no longer really working for you. I called this toxicity last week. The things that are degrading for you or that are not respecting your needs, or where it's simply not moving you forward, or not, in where it doesn't feel in congruence with who you really are. And I'll be honest with you, being an energy coach for so long, the biggest issue is really with letting go these identities that we have formed for ourselves, the false self, and letting that go. So this weekend is going to be a little bit of a deflation of all these idealizations of your ego, of all these things that you thought you had to be. And if this happens to you, then I want you to know that this is probably the best thing that can happen to you. Now, with other people, there can be issues with this, but I want to tell you why this is the best thing that can happen to you. Because what you are experiencing is sort of forced letting go, okay? So letting go of all the illusions, the fantasies, the idealizations is exactly what needs to happen to you right now, so that you can feel this true self that is emerging in you. And I'm not, I don't mean to call this like an entity inside of you, but it kind of is, all right? It is the soul self embodied, through you. And the true self is the communicator, is the transcoder between your soul and yourself. And so growing into this true self means to shed all these false self things, thinking that we have to be in a certain way, that we have to conform, that we have to do things for love, that we have to get approval, and so forth. If you think about this, guys, that is what has created all the pain and suffering in your life. Because for the most part, it's pulled you into incongruence. And this is, sort of through these collective energies that speed everything up. And just on a side note, when energies speed up, guys, that's just like when you boil a pot of water. The molecules start moving faster. And in the process of that, new reactions, new, sort of compounds are being created. And what it leads to in the energetic sense is you recognizing all these things, you being able to illuminate all these things that are no longer conducive for you, that, perhaps are toxic for you. And one of the biggest contributors to toxicity for energetically sensitives and especially empaths, guys, I've mentioned this here in the most recent publications, is passivity. This powerlessness, thinking that there's nothing we can do about this, that drives us into anxiety, that drives us into depression. That is something you need to, change. This is nothing that anybody else can change for you. And it's always about this strategy that we are lacking, like how can we get out? If you are in a toxic relationship, say with a narcissist, or just to name an example here, it's understandable that you don't feel like you could leave because you don't know how to. All right, the enmeshment and the entanglement with kids and money and so forth is so high that you don't know how to get out. So you can't sit there and just let it happen. This is when you literally, you know, commit treason to your true self. You have to develop at least a strategy, and then you focus on the next step. You focus on the next thing that you can do. All right. And sometimes you will be surprised how many helpers actually come in once you make that decision, once you choose that. It may still take a little while for it to fully manifest. That's the part here where we have to actually have a strategy. We need to see that, certain steps are just the first steps, but these preparation steps are all there to increase our energy, to up our vibratory rate. And as you increase your energy in that process of choosing that you no longer want to accept this toxicity in their life, you will receive more energy. And this is what we are all experiencing, whether we're aware or not, whether we're aware of it or not. We're all experiencing this speeding up of energies, okay? And you can call this mystical, and we're going to get to the mystical here in a little bit. I have a few really, really cool questions that you guys submitted. We're going to talk about entities, and we're going to talk about some of the scary stuff that comes with your heightened energetic perceptivity. But as far as the practical is concerned, and I don't want you to neglect that, because it's really where a lot of these battles between dark and light actually take place. They take place in your inner duality, in your inner incongruences, where you are not balanced, where you basically disagree with who you are, where you feel this pull, to be somebody else, your true self, but you just don't know how, because you just gotten into wherever you are, be it relationship or work or some kind of family situation, through all these complex, double bind stuff, and you don't see a way out. My message to you here, in the midst of all this happening, be it triggered from the outside, be it just coincidental. There are no coincidences really, but synchronicities, if you will. And this true self emerging in you, all right, is the right way. And if you don't know how, then you need someone that can help you with this. You need a third person. If you have a great friend, if you have a group, self-help group or something, or, coaches like me, or, energy healers that can help you to develop a roadmap that will show you that this is possible. And I want to say something here. I am amazed. I am just like blown away by all your guys' hearts that I'm receiving here. Thank you so much. This is super, super motivating for me. Yeah, so it's the things that we no longer are. And the strategy has to come through your resolve, through your decision, all right? And this is what's going on right now. But when we have these times like this weekend, for instance, which is rough, guys, physically it'd be rough. I can already tell you that the energy centers that are being triggered here this weekend and all next week is basically all your chakras. All your physical chakras will get triggered. We have the family stuff and the karmic stuff that is unfolding through and within your first chakra, issues with your knees, issues with your hips, issues with some of this forward motion, your mobility, where you feel caught, money problems, and problems with your work. You'll have issues with your second chakra, where your emotions are being processed, where you're not expressing what you truly feel, where you make other people's needs and emotions more important than your own, the codependency aspect of your false self. The third chakra, where you want to do something, but you're trying to maybe force it through, you're trying to overpower others, and that backlashes, that backfires at you with, you absorbing other people's stuff. Then your fourth chakra, your heart chakra, that really wants to come into the game now with this unified heart mind, as we call this, where you can really feel the balance between your mind and your heart. And then your fifth chakra that wants to bring it all into expression. How many of you have throat issues right now? Okay, feeling literally suffocated, or sinus issues, issues with your teeth. Guys, those are all signs that you are not expressing your truth. All right. And then sixth chakra, oh my God, you have all these weird visions. You can't sleep. You see things that you don't know what they are. And it's, in some people's cases, driving you nuts. And then, of course, you have the spiritual connection that is somehow emerging in you, and you don't really know what this means, and it's coming in through your crown, and you're getting all this input here, maybe through YouTubers or articles or whatever, this spiritual awakening, this energy awareness, but you don't know where to look, and you get maybe sidetracked in magical or fantastical thinking. So this is weighing on you now here for this weekend, guys. So I have a lot of compassion for you, and that's why I'm here, to answer questions that come up for you. But as far as like the actual roadmap is concerned here, what is the goal? The goal is spiritual freedom, the freedom to live and express who you truly are. And this has to do with your soul purpose. So your true self is there to inform you, it's there to contextualize your experience for you, and it's there to remind you. It's the part in you that brings in the remembrance. We connect with this part through meditation, contemplation, but also nature, walks, and just really going deep within. But the part here that is missing, many of you have actually this kind of awareness already, is the self-responsibility. You got to understand that, these are all more or less new tools and new senses that are developing in you. And you need to go into this place of active self-responsibility. You have to manage your energies now. These things that I mentioned here about full moons and stuff like that, that's not just some outer thing that happens to you. That's just like any kind of outer condition. It's like a weather condition. You can have to deal with this. And self-responsibility means to go into this active energy management, time management, managing your energy where it goes. And the third aspect of that is to really go into this true self-love, the self-love with yourself, and through that, recognizing the true self and in others, and also, treating them like you would want to treat yourself. Okay, so these are the things that we've had wrong in the past, okay? And that's why we get so easily caught in this negativity that is around us right now, in this chaos, and in all this collapse energy, all right? The collapse is the renewal. So if you really want to take this opportunity to grow into this true self that you are, then you need to embrace the new, purge the old. I'm going through a massive purging here, okay, in my business, in my family, and so forth, in a good way. I'm happy about this. It liberates me. It increases my freedom. All the things that don't work, I just no longer entertain them. I no longer enable them. That's how simple that is. But I can see how this can be an issue sometimes when you don't know where to start. So this is then where energy healers and energy coaches come in. therapists as well, of course. So, guys, what is not working for you is the part here where you cannot see your own blind spots. And you may ask, well, how can I see what I cannot see? And this is exactly true. So when it comes to responsibility, I want you to also understand that these things that you cannot see, because they're based on your trauma, they're based on your pain of the past, and your ego is trying to prevent you from getting re-traumatized and so forth. All these coping mechanisms and so forth that I always talk about. You cannot see them because your ego is trying to protect you from it. And there's, a purpose to that. But you are growing into a more mature, more sophisticated version of yourself. It's an upgrade, guys. So you gotta let these old coping mechanisms go and embrace the new without fear. Negativity comes from fear. Anger comes from fear. Okay? So you gotta understand that all this irritability in yourself and others is based on fear. And here is where you need to change something. What are we afraid of, guys? We are afraid of the unknown. We are afraid of uncertainty. And I'm telling you, you go in and build this relationship with your true self that informs you of your soul purpose and of your own future. And you no longer need to be afraid of the unknown. You have a companion there that can always inform you about what you need to do, where you need to be, what you need to say at a given time. That is trust. And trust is what helps you to overcome your fear. Now, when it comes to energetic experiences that perhaps you've never had before, and we'll cover them here in a minute, I understand how we can get freaked out by things. And trust me, I have had my share of this from childhood on. But it has also led to me shutting down my energetic sensitivity and trying to check out. And this is what created most of the trauma in my life, where I've dissociated from myself, from what I'm truly feeling, what I'm truly seeing. And then, there was a time where I tried to really bring this into expression, and people laughed about me. They thought I was like, sort of one of those woo-woo nutters. And then I decided to only seek the people that see the world just like I do. And I found lots and lots of material, books, authors, and trainings that allowed me to work with my energetic sensitivity and to train it. So after 20 years of training, guys, I finally then decided to become an energy coach and help people on their journey. All right, so this is here the training that you are undergoing right now. This is what your heightened perceptivity is bringing in for you. It is not there to scare you. And even if I now shift to these energies and entities, helping you to identify and to contextualize some of these experiences that will go more into the multidimensional realm of our being, I want you to understand that the fear is what materializes in the etheric, in the multidimensional. So a lot of these entities or these experiences that you have, they are enmeshed. They are, basically determined by the emotion and the energetic vibe that you have about them. And so the more afraid you are, the worse it gets. Do you understand? This weekend is a weekend and all next week where you will feel stuff come in through the etheric, and it can come in ways. For instance, I've heard a lot of people talk about curses right now. Okay, you will feel like somebody cursed you, be it at work or something from your family. All right, that is real. It's not true, but it's real. Curses only work if you are afraid of them, if you basically buy into them and enable them to get a foothold in you. Then there's also something that I've noticed here right now is that where people feel like they're getting haunted, all right, by entities, by sort of shadows in their house. Is this real? Well, it is real, but it is not necessarily true. You might be experiencing the residue of energy in your house. So, this could be, sort of past energies from people that lived there before. You could also pick up, in your mind's eye, residue of fears or things that you have been focusing on. Say you went through a massive heartbreak. Your whichever room in your apartment or your house you've cried a lot and you've released a lot of this heartbreak, or say where a lot of fights went on, there will be residue in those rooms. So there's just something that needs to be cleared out, just like how you have to clean dirt, from your apartment. You see what I'm saying? So it's not always what you think it is. Then there's a lot of people talking about things that have to do with sort of the way they've been maybe influenced by others, that tell them that, oh, when you see this, it means this, or could be religious, could be spiritual teachers or whatever that tell them that what these things mean. I can tell you that the meaning of things depends very much on your energetic state. And it isn't always so easy, so binary, okay? When you see, like, say, something that resembles a dark entity, all right, that this is something that is haunting you, it's not necessarily so. And at the same token, something that looks like an angel, that looks like your grandmother, isn't necessarily benign. So how can you discern this? This is what I'm here for, and this is also what I want to focus on from now on, to help you with these blind spots that you have, and to continue relaying the message to you to not be afraid. You can overcome your fear through education. And all this can be studied, guys. This is not, esotericism is not really what I would call a science, but the science of energies, the science of your consciousness emerging, that can be studied. And there's phenomenal authors out there, all the way to Aristotle, all the way to, Goethe, all the way to, through Rudolf Steiner, people who have, sort of gone down this path and created studies for you that allow you to understand these spirit realms. And then you have people like Dr. Hawkins, for instance. I'm a student of his, who have created ways to measure this, subjectively measure this, and who can explain, the link between certain entities and energetic states and emotional states, like C.G. Jung, and also Sigmund Freud. So in this sort of spiritual school that we are all in here right now, we are learning to bring all these different parts of our existence together. All right, and this is to a degree new, except for the basic vocabulary has already been created for us. We now just need to go into this practical translation of this, and that's, what we need, people for, like myself, groups and so forth, where we feel free enough to talk about these things. So guys, this concludes the energy update. Now I would like to move into the entities and energies, questions and answers. Is there anybody here live right now who would like to ask about specific things that you have experienced? I have a few questions here that I wanted to cover, and there was a link in the announcement for the live where you could ask questions anonymously. So if you don't want to post questions here, that's okay, I understand that. But then please write them here, in the comment, or send me. Obviously, while I'm live, it's hard for me to read this. So I need you to ask your question here in the chat, either at Facebook or YouTube. There is a question that came in and that I hear quite frequently as an energy coach, namely, what is this experience when you have a dream and maybe not necessarily that a dream is proceeding, but where you feel pinned down to your bed, you feel like you can't move, and you feel like there are entities and so forth doing something to you. Has anybody experienced this before? This can be a very, very scary experience. Do you know what that feels like, guys? Where you lay in bed and you can't do anything, you can't get out of it. I want to shed a little bit light in this. This is not necessarily a hostile takeover, as some of you might interpret this. This is actually what is called a sleep paralysis. So when your brain goes into a certain frequency, typically the higher theta and early delta frequency. This is almost like a, it's not the lucid dreaming state. It's the state where you like literally asleep. But for those of you who do meditate a lot, it is possible to exit that place with your consciousness. So your body is asleep, but your consciousness is awake. Do you guys know what this is like? Have you ever heard yourself snoring? Who of you has heard himself snoring? I have many times. Yeah, so this can be quite a weird experience, but doesn't necessarily mean that there's anything wrong with you. This just means that this is not an out-of-body experience, guys. Don't get this mixed up. You've had 3 episodes of this, Geraldine? Yeah, so there's a lot of confusion here with the lingo, and this is why I'm doing this right now, okay? An out-of-body experience is not the same as experiencing yourself with your own consciousness, okay? An out-of-body experience, which is something that I strongly advise you guys not to experiment with, is something where you literally sort of sever the connection with your body and go into astral realms. That is like literally going into an open battle, into an open war zone, and you're leaving your body, your energy body, they're unprotected. This is not the same. A sleep paralysis is when you feel pinned down to your bed and you feel like you're awake. And it's a bit of an illusion, guys. You think you're awake, but you're not. And so in these frequency states, your brain turns off your muscle control to protect you so that you don't sleepwalk. Okay, so sleepwalking is a bit of a dysfunction in that way, that you can actually walk around while you're still sleeping. So in order to prevent sleepwalking, your brain creates this sleep paralysis for you. Okay, but for someone who is used to having these interactions or encounters in their dreams with entities, the brain might interpret this as an hostile takeover. There are, of course, cases like this, and I don't want to say that this doesn't happen, but 99% of you guys that experience this are actually experiencing a sleep paralysis. Sharonda, you're asking a very important question here. How do these entities attach themselves to you? And this is something that, of course, requires you to understand that your body is not just your physical body. You have an energy body as well, and you actually have an etheric body, like a spirit body as well. So this is some more than just like sort of what people call an aura, okay? You have more aspects of that. And when you OBEs, out of body experiences, for instance, go into a place where you literally detach from yourself, then you leave your energy body unprotected. It's no longer fully connected with your actual physical body, and then entities can take over. But do you know what the most common mechanism is of etheric entities taking over, attaching themselves to you? Is through all the things that you are negating, degrading, and not loving about yourself. Those basically are your shit magnets. They are shit magnets. They have an energetic signature that basically broadcast out into the astral that there is no light there. It's like the dirty corner in your room, okay? And for some reason, wherever there's dirt, there's going to be more dirt, okay? So it attracts them. So the bottom line here of all this talk is really to understand that you connecting with your true self, you connecting with your body, you connecting with your soul are the things that can protect you. And they will also be the things that help you to trust in that more so that you don't fall prey to, some of your mental interpretation. So there's a big part of your mind, that interprets things according to what you are most afraid of. Okay, so these nightmares, for instance, when you get betrayed, when you get cheated on, or when you get haunted, when you get chased, and so forth, those are just your mind's interpretations. That has nothing to do with what is actually going on, but it can inform you about where your energy goes. So if you go into fear, you are basically disconnecting from your heart at that moment, and you become more susceptible to it. So it's the energetic mechanics of it are measurable, all right? So the more confident you are, the better the connection to your own heart, to your own true self, the less likely these entities are able and even willing to attach to you, because there is not enough juice in there for them. Geraldine, if you would like to share with us here what these episodes were, I might be able to help you with this. I'm reading your post. Okay, you're sharing with us what you are using to protect. Yes, and that's very kind of you to share with others what you are using to protect yourself. There are, of course, there are things, and I talk about them all the time. Clearing, decluttering, smudging. You can use salt, you can use crystals, you can use sound, you can use pictures. Everything that works, guys, for you to feel safe, for you to feel like that you are more sort of in control of your own energy, will do it. All right, it doesn't have to be one specific thing. It's different for everyone. This is part of this growing into our true self and embodying this as you learn what works for you. Okay, certain herbs, such as lavender help, chamomile helps, but they all have different properties that people who are specialized in this can teach you, or you can read this up on the internet. There are things that can help you on the outside, that can help you to prevent, say, hostile takeovers by entities. But I'm telling you here, it's the inside that you need to pay attention to. It's the true protection. The biggest power you have is to be fully connected with your source of power. And that comes in through your true self. And that means to shed all these false, senses of power, false senses of security, your false self, all the stuff that you've externalized your power to. And this externalization in you is also what creates the fear. So understand this. This is a very complex thing, but the solution is to go within, to learn how to connect with your heart in a heartbeat, how to do this, how to use your breathing. I'm teaching this here. Every video that I do teaches this. This is your biggest shield. This is your biggest protection. What about your blind spots? Your blind spots being your shit magnets. You're going to have to work with them. That is your active work. That is where I say your passivity is what, basically enables this toxicity, and with it also, this attraction, the susceptibility, to darker energies. Sharonda, you've had a few takeovers. Would you like to share what this was like for you? Or how you knew that those were takeovers? Yeah, we have a little bit of delay here with Facebook. I will respond to this. There was another question that came in, and this actually blends in really well, especially with takeovers. And that is the question: are angels real? Are angels real? Yes, angels are real, guys. I sometimes um, take out sort of the mysticism out them when I talk about angels because people tend to make it special. But you know what obviously angels is part of this archetypal imagery that we all have, especially in Christian societies, but also, of course, in Muslim societies, you have that too. Uh, is this winged, sort of light being, and these beings are real, but they, for the most part, are not what you think they are. Okay, many of us have an etheric body, especially those of us who are in full awareness of their soul purpose, that can look like an angel being. So this is very possible that you pick up on, other people's, helpers, supporters, that are actually alive right now, that you're picking up on their etheric bodies. It is also possible that you pick up on actually helpers, such as your guardian angel or, angel guides that are coming in for you. There's different hierarchies of those, but, that are trying to help you to, to find this remembrance and to guide you, to give you a roadmap. And it isn't a coincidence that I use this angel being here for the true self, all right? Because it is actually your true self that can look like an angel being, okay? So yeah, the guides are not all what we think. See, in history of mankind, it used to be that illuminations, revelations had to come in from the outside. The consciousness level of humanity wasn't high enough. So, in the Bible or wherever it says, the angels appeared and told them that certain things would happen, or prophets and so forth. All that was external. What is changing now, guys, is literally that we are growing into our own angel self. We are growing into this transition here from a pure material 3D person, a body with a soul, into a soul with a body, into this spirit being that we actually are. This spirit being in us, this soul self in us, has decided to materialize in the 3D temporarily to do something, to help humanity, to help the whole entire collective to go through this transition. This transition may take another 100 years or 500 years. It is not relevant. But you have to understand that the way we contextualize these spirit beings as like sort of God or devil in this dualistic way is a pure materialistic and 3D perspective. If you actually grow into your true self and true self awareness, you understand that it's much different from how your ego, 3D, small self sees it. It's much more complex. But I often resolve this for people by pointing out that, the light and dark, there really is only light, and darkness is where there is no light. So it's the absence of light. In the October Energies Reflection, I talked about this. That's why fighting against the dark, guys, makes absolutely no sense. You cannot fight the absence of something. If you want to do something about darkness, then you need to bring more light into these places where there's not enough light. And that is then also how you illuminate your blind spots. That is how you become aware of these things that pull you into fear, that pull you into anger, that pull you into these experiences. Okay, one recently was that I could see my arm and my hand, yet I was looking at it, but it wasn't on my body. I was reaching for my body, for it to move. My feeling was I am dying, but pushed into my body and moved my hand and felt it back. It was in a moment of waking, felt relief. Yes, Geraldine, this is not a hostile takeover. This is not an OBE. This is a very common experience for energetically sensitives and people who are really tuning into these higher vibratory, their higher vibratory perceptivity. This is very common to have something that I often call an overlay. So you see your physical body and you see your etheric body, and there's an overlay, but they don't always match up. I've explained this, I think, in the October video as well. This can be particularly confusing when you look at somebody and you talk to someone and you see their physical body and you see their physical mouth saying something. You hear it with your five senses, with your ears, right? And you also see them do something differently and you hear them say something different. This is a very common occurrence, and this is showing you that your perceptivity, your third eye, is awakening. Okay, and the problem with these things is that we don't know at first what they mean, and so there can be fear and confusion that come through that. So this is why it's so important to work with your heart, to work with your own needs and your own feelings. I like how you said the way you felt during this, how you were feeling. This is the tip that I give to most people is feel into what it actually feels like, and that is then what you can work on. Very, very cool comment, and thank you. This is very enriching here for everybody. I'm reading your guys' comments and questions here. Yes, it's all about staying centered, and I recommend in the energetic visioning intensive, where I actually train people how to deal with their etheric, how to maneuver their etheric, and so forth, to visualize yourself being connected through a silver cord from your heart to your etheric. Okay. And so this not only helps you first to center, because you need to feel your heart first and learn how to breathe in your heart and learn how to clear through your heart. Okay, and then when you go into this visionary place, then you make sure that you always have the tether there that can bring you back to your heart. So if something happens to you guys, whether it's in a half awake, in a lucid state, and you're doing some plant medicine ceremony, or whatever it is, a vision quest, a meditation, all right, and you get into trouble there, or you feel like you're being taken over, or something is doing something to you that you don't want, then you need to know how to get back to your heart, guys. That is your insurance policy that will pull you out. Okay. Yes, I mean, people like myself and the trans coaches here at transCODES, we are specialized on helping to pull people out of there. We do energy clearings. That's really what they do. We pull you out of these places. But, this is only a very, very small thing. If you keep pulling this back in, or if you don't know, that certain habits that you have actually promote this, then you get yourself into this place over and over and over again. Yeah, so it's very important to know where to go when you get in trouble in these sort of etheric, in these multidimensional realms, and when you have these experiences that feel very, very overwhelming. But it's a very common experience. Any more questions, guys, or things that you have experienced that you don't quite know what it means? It's so awesome to see your hearts. I love it. Yeah, so other things that I always mention to people when they have these experiences, especially those of you who are kind of calling it out, who are, going on vision quests and so forth, never take anything, never take any gifts, never take any drinks or any foods. That's typically how these entities get to you. Okay. Also, the biggest probably shit magnet here is your own specialness. Besides your fear, when you're being offered something like a certain position, like a certain perk, like a certain thing, especially sexuality, sexual dreams, often play into your specialness and therefore get you. They can also, of course, play on your lower, sort of human needs, especially if you have a lot of repression there. Hostile takeovers can come through sexual advances and sexual dreams, which is why you need to be extremely cautious with those. I've written many articles about this. So guys, go to the transCODES blog on my website, and you can type in keywords, if you want to know more about these kind of things. Unless you guys ask about these specific things, I'm not going to cover them here. Heather is asking, my question is, how do I keep from having two conversations with one person at the same time? Straddling two worlds at the same time. Would be nice to learn how to make it stop. Why? Why do you want to make it stop? The second layer that you are perceiving there is the truth layer, Heather. All you really got to do is start ignoring, the projections that people produce in the 3D. So the things they say, the way they move their body, it's all fake. It's all just projections. 99.9% people out there false selves. Okay, so they're projecting their false self onto you. And due to your training, due to your true self-awareness, you are starting to see their true self acting. On the contrary, you want to focus on this second layer. But of course, you still have to function in 3D, so you can put a smile on, you can, be polite. It is confusing sometimes, but only if you think you have to believe into the projections. And this is another thing, guys, that the more projections you have, the more fake you are, the more you get attracted and also trapped by other people's fakeness, to keep this very simple. So if you are in a conversation with someone and there's a full-on sort of projective battle going on with like who's better and who's more special and who is the bigger victim and who has more pain or whatever, yeah, there is nothing that can help you there until you stop doing this. And this is what your true self is showing you. So this is not about making it stop. This is about learning to discern and picking the right one, picking the right reality. That's what this is what your true self is showing you, Heather. Hope this makes sense. Jona, very, very, very good question. Is it possible to think about someone or call someone in your head and then start to hear them talking? Yes, it is, and this is actually part of projecting. This can be a good thing, this can be a bad thing. In relationships, this is very often what happens when we are emotionally attached to someone. We think of them, we fantasize, we visualize, we project things to them, and they can feel this. So if two energetically sensitives come together, this can be done consciously. But you have to be cautious, because whatever it is that you're projecting is actually real. So put yourself into that place of the person that can actually read this true self level, right? So everything that you project there can be seen. And this is part of what I do as an energy healer, energy coach. I translate people back what they're projecting. I can see what they're projecting. I can see that. So sometimes those might be, loving feelings and empathy and compassion and so forth. But a lot of times it's not so nice feelings, not so nice things that we project, especially when we gossip a lot, especially when we talk about other people behind their backs, especially when we sort of buy into our own false self, the victim in us and so forth, and we keep pulling other people in, or when we blame other people, or this is all projection, guys, and this can all be seen. For the most part out there in the world, people are not aware of this, and so for those of you who have that ability to project, who have that energetic sensitivity to read those levels, unfortunately, this is also a way how they manipulate you, how they can control you. Yes, and let me make you an example here. A very good salesperson is able to project things into your brain, and whether they're doing this consciously or not. There's a saying in German where they say you can, he's such a good salesperson, he can sell a fridge to a penguin, because he can literally create the picture in the head of the penguin that it's too hot out. All right, just as an example. So energetic projection is used as means to control and overpower people. Narcissists in your life are specialized on that. They're very good. Narcissists are energetically sensitives as well, and they're very, very good projectors, professional projectors, which is why you guys as empaths and energetically sensitives keep falling for them. But there's another reason why you fall for them, and that is you're not aware of what you are projecting. Okay, you are projecting, get me, you can abuse me, I'm gonna go the extra mile for you. Is there anything else I can do for you? Oh, let me take on your identity, so that I can be of more service to you. Okay, and it's all the hidden self hatred that you have, and where you can't love yourself, that projects these people in. So this is a very big subject, and I have produced an explainer video here on YouTube. You can watch this. It's called Why We Absorb Other People's Energies. George, you had a dream of the devil last week, and a very well turned out red-haired Irish man. Okay, looked like business executive, just sitting in a chair, hanging out. Not particularly scary, but next few nights had dreams my soul was in danger, which felt much worse. So my question is not sure how to contextualize this. All right, so again here, the translation of our subconscious is the devil. Okay, the devil is sort of an archetypal symbol for darkness in especially Christian societies. Okay, the devil per se actually doesn't exist. What exists though are these entities, that come sort of out of darkness. All right, and if we have been raised, in especially Catholic environment, a Catholic family or country, then we have been programmed, we have been conditioned with the fear of the devil. So if you can let go of the archetypal representation there in your dream as devil, and just look at it as like darkness, okay? Darkness, okay? So you have to let go a little bit of these pictures that your subconscious, the child in you really fears. Okay, so the predominant feeling that was transported to you is fear. Okay, this is the first red flag for you. Oh, I'm getting pulled into fear. I'm getting pulled into fear. Here, signal for you, go in your heart, and connect with your heart. So this is a natural shield that we all have. All right. But then there are other parts in this here, George. It looked like a business executive. So then you ask yourself, I wonder what my subconscious translates this into, like a business executive. What does this represent to me? Is there maybe a part of me that feels suppressed, or that feels attacked? Maybe, I'm having issues with sort of a banker or something, or a lawyer, and I see the devil, sort of dressed up as an executive in that way. Or is this a part of me that I have never dared to explore about myself? Or it represents something for you. So there's a reason why it comes in as a business executive. That's not coincidence. Okay, and it was basically sitting in a chair in the corner, okay, hanging out. So this was scare tactics, George, scare tactics by someone perhaps maybe in your life who, is quite dark in that way, that he tries to overpower you. This could be a banker or a lawyer. They tend to be quite dark. No offense. But the subjective feeling that you had, namely that your soul was in danger, that is, of course, you perceive this as real. It is not necessarily true, but it is a real feeling. And here is where you need to step up. Here is where you need to give the devil a finger and say, F you. What the heck are you doing in my bedroom on this chair? This is my space. You better get the heck out of here. Would you allow anybody else to do this? No. So there is a boundary issue that I'm seeing underneath that, where you have to train yourself to kick those kind of energies out. And it starts in your 3D life. It starts, at a place where, it's maybe not as obvious, where you allow this kind of darkness in through a lack of boundaries. Does this help, George? All right, guys. Very, very cool discussion, very motivating for me. Starting October 20th, we're going to have this every Sunday morning. This is the last energy update here for the public. I'm still producing the combined energy update and energy tips for the Patreon supporters and heart warriors. So if you want to continue having energy updates and energy tips, you need to go to my Patreon channel or become a heart warrior. And on Sunday, Sunday noon, we're gonna do the truth talk here on True Self Radio, and I can't wait to continue these kind of discussions with you guys. Help me to break through this social media barriers. Share the videos. Make this more accessible. I know that you're being bombarded by so many other things, but when it comes to actually talking truth, there's very, very little out there that is worth watching. And yes, of course, I'm assuming that this is that what I'm producing here has truth for you. So if it does, then please share. And you can always request a free energy coaching session with me. You know this. Yes. So if you want to get notifications for the YouTube lives, then you need to subscribe to the channel and click on the bell button that notifies you every time there is a live. And on Facebook, same thing. Follow the transCODES page and sign up for my email list, because I'm also sending out transcripts and emails that announce this. Yes, and you can also tag me, here. There's not me, but the video. All right, guys, this is it. Every party has to end. True Self Radio starting October 20th, every Sunday at noon here, Eastern US time. Love you guys. Thank you so much.